The Youth Empowerment YEP project was premised around a theory of change which asserts that if the youths are enabled to secure gainful employment opportunities linked to financial services and market opportunities, and that they are meaningfully involved in shaping public policy decisions and social accountability initiatives in a way that embrace national values and principles of governance, complemented with transformed attitudes and beliefs, then the youths will become more engaged in the social, economic, and political affairs at various levels of the society, thereby resulting into improved accountability in management of public goods and services.
Transform Empowerment for Action Initiative has been implementing the Youth Empowerment Project in Kisii and Nyamira. Specifically in Kisii, we were in Nyamira. In Nyamira, we were implementing in North Mugirango. In North Mugirango, we have 5 wards: Bumagamo Ward, Bukeira, Magwagwa, Ekerenyo, and Itibo wards. In Nyaribari Masaba sub-county, we have 5 wards as well: Kiamukama, Gesusu, Ichuni, Nyamasibi, and Masimba wards. So we've been working closely with the youths because when we did our baseline survey, we realized that there were so many issues affecting the youths, and one of them was youth unemployment. Then there's also that lack of goodwill from the youths to participate in county affairs. So, and then as we were looking at the poverty index, the youths were mostly affected. So that's the main reason why the Youth Empowerment Project was implemented in the 2 sub-counties of Nyamira and Kisii counties.
Our main mandate is actually to empower the youth to participate in socio-economic development, at the same time in leadership and governance.
You know, very many youths are unemployed. And when they are told that you are representing them, then they know if at the end time they come to you in terms probably to seek advice, they also want monetary compensation. So this has been a challenge that sometimes you don't even call them, because at the end of the day, they say, like, you know, we've been sitting here the whole day, we've been sitting here for hours, then we need compensation, as if like they've worked. But okay, I don't blame them. It's because of the circumstances that they are in that makes them like, okay, ask for handouts.
We do what we call capacity building for the youth to ensure that they have entrepreneurial skills to be able to start or expand on their businesses. We have what we call provision of credit or loans, where we have loans for groups or we have loans for individuals to ensure that they start or continue with their businesses once we've trained them.
In the projects, we had different activities that we were doing as an organization, and they were specifically aimed at one, ensuring that the youths hold their leaders accountable. The leaders, in this case, these were the elected leaders at county and national level. And then we also just wanted to ensure that they were empowered economically.
It is on this backdrop that team designed the Youth Empowerment YEP project, a 2-year transformative project that team implemented in Kisii and Nyamira counties simultaneously starting in the year 2018.
When we first got into those 2 areas, we realized that the youths were, one, they were very idle, they were not doing anything with themselves. They are learned, yes, but they were looking for white-collar jobs. But then looking at, again, at the report that came out of the baseline survey, we realized that it was not possible for all youths to be employed.
In its rollout methodology and approaches, team had 3 key activities. The first activity was to support county governments to implement youth-oriented employment and livelihood approaches. Team therefore designed to track implementation of county-led approaches aimed at creating an enabling environment for youth to thrive in under employment and livelihood options. This was done through holding regular roundtable meetings with county government leadership and the private sector players such as Youth Technical Working Group, with a view to tracking the stock of 1. Jobs created for the youth, 2. Tracking implementation of 30% government procurement tenders to the youth, 3. tracking existing youth programs and business development enterprises. 4. Information dissemination through online, SMSs and media platforms. And 5. Trade fairs and outreach programs.
I remember when we were forming the Youth Technical Working Group, it was not an uphill task, because when you explained to them the need for the counties to have this technical working group, it was easy. And I remember even when we had our first meeting, it is the Kisii who said that he will be chairing all meetings and the director for youth at national government will be co-chairing. So in case the Kisii is not there, the national director will co-chair. And for us, that was a plus. So the other stakeholders were brought in on board, because when we got in, we did not know so many stakeholders. But it's through the county government and the national government that we came to know of these other people that they invited into our first meeting during the formation stage of the TWG. So from there on, our work was just to facilitate, by hire a hall for them or just buy tea, but it was upon them. It was upon them, the Kisii youth, to mobilize for those meetings, organize for the meetings, mobilize, and even chair. So our work was just to do oversight.
In so doing, specific youth representatives formed a project advisory team as an integral part of the County Youth Technical Working Group. This in turn effected the strengthening of the existing ICT platforms in the counties so as to ensure that they are more user-friendly and have all the basic information required by the public, such as county policy and legal frameworks, plans and budgets, procurement plans and advertisements, job opportunities and linkages to the markets.
It's through the engagement with the team that we've been able to develop the technical working group, the Youth Technical Working Group, which has made my work very, very easy, because I have now participants from the national government, from the other stakeholders, from the NGOs that are dealing with issues youth within Kisii County. So it's made my referral process very easy, because a young person comes, wants a certain service, which might not be available in my office, and I get somebody that I refer him or her to. And they have been very, very happy. I've been getting feedbacks. It's made my work very easy. I think the burden I had of the overcrowding numbers of youths within my office have drastically gone down because of this kind of development. Yes.
My experience has been awesome, because through the partnership with the team, we were able to bring stakeholders who work with young people together. And this created a platform whereby we could be able to engage more often on issues that are concerning young people and emerging issues. We had a platform where we were able to, discuss and find a way forward in addressing the challenges that young people face.
It was therefore very critical that the Youth Empowerment YEP project should 1. Promote amongst the youth a culture of savings for transformation and with the business skills amongst the youth and with linkages to employment and market opportunities. 2. Promote to the youth an advanced and transformed worldview by promoting the values and principles of governance. 3. Promote the need for generating and utilizing evidence for policy engagements and advocacy.
The projects of team has been a blessing to us, because 1, they have been undertaking activities which are actually within our mandate. The mandate of the Department of the State Department of Youth is wide, but team has been undertaking an activity in a very focused approach, dealing with almost very few activities where the impact was very, very effective. That is 1. As far as we were concerned, team was undertaking life skills, which is what we have also been doing, so it has been complementing us. As far as financial literacy is concerned also, they have been undertaking, and it has been complementary to what we have been doing.
That ensured that key project activities were executed jointly with government departments without any parallelism.
We have been taken to various seminars in Masimba about budget making process, how to choose leaders. So all of those things have been taught to us by team.
Under the second key activity in its methodology, TEAM empowered the youth to actively participate in planning, budgeting, and holding leaders accountable.
The greatest achievement that we have been able to attain since 2018, first is the aspect of youth involvement in public participation, because we've been able to hold quite a number of meetings. Actually, these are the meetings that led to the development of the youth policy that we know we have finalized with the draft, and it's heading towards the other authorities for approval.
One thing that I could want to appreciate is the partnership with the team, because we really work together in terms of policy making and ensuring that we fine-tune our document so that we can see it rolling up probably the soonest way that we could want to. And also we appreciate the effort that is being done by a team to ensure documentations are ready, and from the assembly arm we are doing our best to ensure implementation is done, and probably in the next 1 or 2 financial years, probably before our term ends, then we could ensure that the policy is in place and probably working.
The primary approach for achieving this output was through building evidence for policy engagements and advocacy.
Now, before TEAM came into the county government of Nyamira to work with us, there was a very serious challenge about the budgetary allocation for the youths, especially the Department of Education, where we have the vocational training centers. This was because there was no youth policy. So you'd find a budget has been done, money has been allocated towards youth activities, but when it comes to execution of the budget, the spending, they could not spend the money because there's no policy that is anchored in the Department of Education that is guiding the spending or the utilization of the funds.
The youth policy is a very important legal document that gives youths an opportunity to participate and be engaged in matters concerning the county government and eventually the national government, then globally.
TEAM dedicated substantial time for engagement with the county government's department responsible for access to information, civic education, and public participation, with a view of promoting dissemination of public information to the residents.
We were able to meet so many youth groups, and when we met them, we gave them this knowledge. We told them the importance of the budget, the importance of attending public participations, and as I'm speaking right now, during the previous public participations, the number of youths that were attending the public participations drastically rose, which was a very good show to us because we gave them this knowledge. Now, these youths, they were supposed to be in these public participations in order to give their voice.
One of the key areas is the public participation. Our youth did not have skills on how to engage their county government. But with the implementation of this particular project, we've seen the proactiveness of the young people. They are able to engage their government. They are able to question and ask how the budgets are being met. They are able to contribute to the budget making process. They are able to focus and question project implementation. And this is what is most important, especially as an outcome of the 2010 Constitution.
It is noted that the county governments have in place some policy frameworks and service delivery related documents such as the County Integrated Development Plans, Sectorial Priority and Work Plans, County Fiscal Strategy Papers, and Budget Estimates.
Again, fortunately for us, we were also working closely with the youth bunges that we also helped form in Nyamira. Youth bunge is a local parliament of youths where they meet and share their issues and engage the county meaningfully. So for us, when we got into these counties, we were working with youths in groups and some who are not in groups, because our areas, we had the S40 where we had the Serving for Transformation where we had the 38 groups. Then we had social accountability component that was cutting across all the youths in groups or without groups. So that's where we got these other youths who formed themselves up after our social accountability forums and formed this youth bunge. So they called it, initially it was a youth bunge at every ward. So we had 5 youth bunges that came up and formed one, the North Mugirango Youth Bunge. Yeah, and they're in the process of registering.
They helped us to know how the budget is being made. Its composition, people who are responsible for budget making. We got the citizens are there, the leaders we choose. For example, in the National Assembly, we have the MPs, members of parliament, and then the county assembly, we have the MCAs. So through them, they taught us that it is us who make the budget. First, we take our views through public participation. So when we don't go to those kind of forums, our affairs are ignored or they don't know. The county may put money, for example, to the youth docket, while in the real sense, we don't understand. Is it enough or is it less? So through the information we got from teams, but now we are aware that it is us as the youth who go and participate in public participation through if it is a bill or if it is budget making.
Promoting and facilitating the dissemination of these documents for scrutiny by the youth goes a long way in building evidence for advocacy by the youth themselves.
In fact, even I'm proud to report that stakeholder that NGOs working with me is team. When you are at the national office, I forwarded who are your partners. Even in fact, when I was preparing my performance appraisals, they were asking, because there is time I was told, do you have non-government organization which is supporting you? I told them, team, which has helped me so much to move that direction. So that is what was my appeal, is that through maybe we get funds, we move out to these other sub-counties now, so that they can realize how good team is. You know, sometimes our vijana, they feel that they should get cash. Cash is not an issue. What normally I tell them is about knowledge. How can they transform themselves from where they are, from poverty to rich? Not somebody to be given a food. Let be somebody be told how to fish.
There are so many enterprises which have sprung up from the focal areas where team has been operating.
In its third key methodology activity, team trained the youth to adopt self-sustaining collective solutions that lead to improved livelihood options.
Kulingana na project zetu tulianza mwaka wa 2019 na hatukuwa tunajua mwelekeo vile tunaendeleza grupu yetu, but kwa kulingana na vile team ilikuja na maofisa wengine hapo wenzetu ambao ni Titus na wengine walitufunza juu ya kusave na tumejua hali ya kusave.
We came together with the ambition of growing or to assist one another, but we were not having enough information on what kind of projects we can do. So ours, we just highlighted 2 of the activities, that is poetry. We had merry-go-round, and then we used to do retro savings by a week. So team took our 2 members, that is the secretary and the advisor, whom were taken and they were given training. Our secretary was taken to Nyamira, that's where they were holding their conference, and the advisor was taken to Kisii, that is where they were being trained.
Here, team designed short-term but object-specific training for the selected target youth groups to collectively solve their local problems through self-sustaining approaches.
Tukakuja tukaselect project hii ya P5. Tulikuwa na team ndio tuanzisha tukaanza kupanga hii mambo ya P5. Tukaanza na P5 moja. Hii group ikaingia tena na encouragement, tukaingia tukanunua ingine, tukakuja tukainua mpaka sasa tumefika na P5.
So the group has the following projects: horticulture, tuna ukulima wa carrots na cabbage, tuko na project nyingine ya welfare ya chairs and tents. Of course tulikuwa tunataka kununua tents kutoka kwa hizi carrots which was costing 75,000. Na project nyingine ni the group ilikuja nayo recently, ilikuwa 1N project. Tulikuwa tunauliana kuku moja kila member.
In one of our activities that we called we call the Savings for Transformation, we were able to work with 38 groups, 18 in Kisii, Nyaribari Masaba, and 20 in North Mugirango in Nyamira. So after the 38 groups, we took them through a series of trainings.
Hatungejipanga vizuri, hatukukuwa na masomo vizuri juu ya kujipanga kama vile jama. Sasa wakati timu ilikuja ikatupata tuko kwa ground, ikaanza kutuambia vile chama inaendelezwa na kutupea education.
They introduced many things to our group. We used not to have a box. That's where the documents, all things pertaining to the group are being kept. Then it was introduced, we were told we must make a box. So that box is like a bank, is they give safe custody of the group. Because at first, the treasurer used to be given money. And then he goes with it to keep in his own house. So through team, they introduced the box, whereby up to now, we don't get regrets of keeping the documents, because in your home you can get some are destroyed, money are being used. When the treasurer is being asked, he can even keep referring that wait for me next time. But the through team, when they introduced the box, we get the things have been running smoothly since 2018 up to now.
Team imetutoa kwa chini, yani kwa zero, hadi tukakuwa kwa position, hata sahi ninasema tuko kwa position 3. Kwa sababu ya mara ya kwanza timu alitupeleka kwa mafundisho. Mimi kwanza wakati tulienda pale tulifundishwa vile tunaweza to select the higa. Hiyo wakati tulifundishwa nilirudi hapa chini nikafundisha wamama vile wana select the yani higa.
The next they introduced to us what they call passbook. So the passbook has helped us tremendously. It has created transparency, because once record has been done by the record keeper, every member has to show the other members that my money has been accounted for. So there is no that kind of excuse which the record keeper or the member himself would say, I contributed, and the real sense he did not contribute. So through him, we got that kind of accountability, and the transparency has been created by the passbook itself.
This enabled the youth groups to improve their governance skill that enabled their uptake and participation on the Savings and Loan Association SLA and Savings for Transformation approach.
Chenye naweza sema kwa timu imetusaidia wenyewe. Juu hata kwa S4T yenyewe tulikuwa na uoga ya hiyo mambo na pesa. Mingi tumeanza na hatujafaulu. Lakini kwa Kenya naona tulianza hii S4T tuko mbele.
Wakati hatukuwa tumeanza hii table banking, tulikuwa na uoga kama wamama. Kuna vikundi vingi zilianzishwa lakini hawakuendelea. Lakini vile Madam Masi watu wa Kidawa walitusomeza, tukapata ya kwamba kumbe tunaweza fanya.
Before to introduce S4T to Kinder Youth Group, wengi wao walikuwa na hiyo uoga kuwa hii pesa wakikuwa kwa kikundi, hii pesa inaweza fanya nini? Inaweza liwa. Wanaweza kusanya alafu watu watoroke nayo. Lakini training yenye timu ilileta iliwasaidia, ikawafungua mawazo wa kuamua kuanza hii kikundi ambacho ni cha table banking. Now from the time wa start hii kikundi tunaona mabadiliko. Kama wengi, kuna mwingine mmoja akana anaitwa Juma, amefungua biashara ya hoteli huko na ana maindi ya kuuza. Mimi naona hii team iliwasaidia sana na mambo ya S4T.
Sisi hatungejua S4T nini, ikakuja tu ikatuambia savings ni ile pesa 10 20 kidogo najipanga tu kidogo Tukaona vile kama sisi vijana tujipange tuanze kutoa hii pesa kidogo kwa S4T. Sasa hii kama chama tulikuwa na members 7. Sasa hii tuko na members karibu 20 na.
I saved around 1,200, which when I came back, I bought 5 kienyeji hens. So the pure kienyeji, which was costing around 350. So up to now, I have 10 kienyeji chickens, that is hen, and I have around 5 cock. So if you had, that's around 15. So through the project, I have identified. It is through what I attended Colas IGA. IGA is income generating activities, how to identify and how to start. So again, through what they have told me is, when I do anything, I have to be accountable even to myself and to others.
Kibinafsi naweza sema nimefaidika pakubwa. Jambo la kwanza, sikuwa ninajua naweza weka akiba. Hilo niko nalo, niko na akiba. Hata saa hii ukienda labda kwa benki ya niko nayo kuna akiba. Jambo la pili, sikuwa ninajua kufuga kuku. Kuku saa hii kabla nijue juu ya timu ama kikundi cha Starlight, nilikuwa na kuku wa kienyeji, wengine wanakufa. Yaani umewaweka tu hapo nje wanatembea tembea, wengine mwao wanachukua, wengine wanafanya nini. Kufikia mwisho wa siku unapata kama ulikuwa na faranga 10, kama 3, 4, 5 wamechukuliwa, umebaki na hata mmoja. Lakini kwa saa hii tangu niingie hiki kikundi, nilijua kufuga kuku. Saa hii ukienda kwangu utapata kuku zaidi ya 30 kwa mayai. Mayai ninauza kutokana na kinyesi cha kuku, ninapata mbolea. Kama saa hii niliwekea hiyo mbolea yenye nilipata kutokana na kufuga kuku, nilipandia maharagwe yako shambani saa hii. Upande wa chakula kama mayai niko nayo kwa wingi, watoto wanakula. Kwa hivyo kifikira, kimawazo nimefaidika pakubwa.
Tulikuwa tumeanzia chini, tukianza na 20 kwa watu wa 7, na kufikia sasa hivi kulingana na S4T walitufunza, tulijua kusave na tumefikisha karibu 60,000, na tunashukuru sana kwa sababu ya yote ambao wamefanya, na tunashukuru team kwa ile upenda ambao wamekuwa pamoja nasi, wametusaidia ili tumepata kuinuka.
S4T agents facilitate trainings for S4T and youth circles, aggregation of viable income generating activities, business development services, and provide linkage to youth funds and microfinance institutions including banks. The groups have also been linked to public finance institutions such as Women Enterprise Fund and the Youth Fund.
Through the S4T meetings, the Savings for Transformation meetings, we were able to link them up with the Youth Enterprise Development Fund officers in the 2 sub-counties who were very friendly. We worked with them to ensure that the youths in their groups were trained further on selection planning and management of their groups, and even how to manage the income generating activities that they had already started.
Hii timu ndio imetupea maarifa ya kujua kuna uwezo fund ya youth fund.
We have been administering affirmative action funds. Team has been very good in actually linking the youths to the service providers, that is our department, so that they have been able to access these funds, because some of them are not aware and some may be aware but they don't know the requirements. So team has been very complementary on this aspect.
In the recent past, the road uptake in Nyamira North has been dismal. Dismal in the sense that there's been low. That is, awareness creation has been low, meaning sensitization has been a problem. But through team, I'm proud to say from where I sit that Nyamira North is now the leading Nyamira county in terms of loan uptake and repayment. For instance, if I can refer to my records here, Nyamira North. So if you allow me to take it back briefly, the disbursement target for Nyamira County for the financial year 2019-2020 was 17,103,478.26. In Nyamira County, we managed to disburse for the financial year 2019-20 21,503,000. So we surpassed the target of 17,153,478.26. We surpassed by 4,349,521.74.
I personally got an opportunity to visit those groups that have been trained by team, and I was impressed because after doing the assessment, I got to ascertain that the groups had started savings, and they had a clear vision, they had a clear goal, and they had clear objectives, and then activities or strategies of ensuring they are meeting or they are arriving at their destination.
I want to thank team for their support they gave us, whereby they were able to create through those groups, the target groups they're working with, and the result of work being done from the office, the grassroots. We have really worked closely with them to be able to sensitize, create awareness, and mobilize youth to apply for these funds. So I'm proud.
Out of the 38 groups that we were working with, 16 groups had received the Youth Enterprise Fund, and 2 got an extra fund from the NAGRIP project. The NAGRIP project is under the Ministry of Agriculture, so many groups applied, but fortunately our 2 groups were able to get this funding, so they are currently doing well with the funding that they got. Out of the 16 that got the Youth Enterprise Fund, as of today, 9 have already paid the first batch that they took, so they're going to get 3 times what they got in the first round.
Tulienda hadi Kericho tukaleta hiyo Powerso. Powerso saa hii tumesarudisha pesa 85,000. Tumebaki na 15,000. Tumalize hiyo 1,100 yenye tulipewa na Youth Fund.
So far so good. Those groups that we funded, they are paying very well, which means that team has the ability and the capacity and the potential to impart the right skills to ensure that a group or youths are able to move from point A to point B, then from point B to point C.
Loan ya kwanza yenye nilichukua kwa table banking, niliweza kununua kuku, nikanunua baadaye, nikanunua kondoo. Kununua kondoo wakati tulikuwa tunafunga table banking ili tuanze kurudisha loan, nikanunua ndama, kandama kadogo kwa pesa yenye nilipata hapo. So imenisaidia.
Mimi kwanza nimenufaika sana kwa kupitia hiki chama. Mwanzo sikuwa na nyumba. Hiki chama kimeniwezesha, nimejenga nyumba. Nilikuwa na nyumba ya nyasi, lakini nikanunua mabati kupitia hiki chama, niko na nyumba ya mabati. Ya pili, nimeweza kununua mbuzi, kuku sikuwa nao. Hata kama tulianza mwaka jana, miezi kama michache hivi, miezi 6 hivi, lakini nilibahatika kupata mbuzi. Kwa sasa huyo mbuzi wangu amepata ndama, nafurahi sana. Nimejua kulisha watoto wangu, hata kusomesha watoto wangu. Ndizi nimeweza kupanda, ndizi hizi zinaonekana. Mwanzo sikuwa najua hata kutafuta mbegu. Yaani nilikuwa mama mwenye hata hajijui.
The agenda of the youth in this county, in this country, is very critical. From the experiences we've gathered out of this project, the need to support young people to realize their growth, their development is still very huge. I still believe that we need to reach the young people directly in programs that support their livelihoods, their skills development, their life skills management, and how they live and how to grow the youth bracket. So I still believe it's an area we need supporting.
Ownership of the youth projects now rests with the youth themselves from the beginning. Through exploring underlying issues affecting them, the youth are more likely to be mutually accountable for sustaining project initiatives.
Kwa sasa hii Kenya hakuna kazi. Kazi saa hii ni vijana tuungane pamoja ili tuendelee vile tunaendelea kukaa.
Tena niko na future plan wakati tutafanya sharing out. Kwa pesa yenye nitapata, plan yenye niko nayo, nikipata hiyo pesa, nitaweza kufungua ka M-Pesa yangu ili maisha yangu ibadilike kuliko hapo awali.
Na saa hii vile tuko hapa kwa watu wa Kenda Youth Group, lengo yetu kuu, tunataka kila mwezi, kila mwanachama, hata kama napata 4,000 na kila inatoka juu yetu.
So if it is around, if we get, for example, our group gets around 100,000, we can use it to expand the kind of project which we have.
Now, what we can do about these groups, help they have the certificate which they were given. Now let them apply to the loans because we have the affirmative funds.
Sisi kama kikundi tunataka tukue na gari yetu yenye imeandikwa Kinda Youth Group. Hiyo ndio plani yetu kuu yenye tuko nayo hapo mbele. Hata tukipewa hiyo 400,000, tutajitahidi hata kama tutapata ka probox, tutajitahidi tupate ka 200,000 tukue na gari yetu yenye imeandikwa Kinda Youth Group. Hiyo ndio plani yetu kuu yenye tuko nayo hapo mbele.
Through the establishment and function of county-specific youth technical working groups for youth and gender affairs, it is now possible to ensure that annual project work plans and budgets are developed and implemented by multi-stakeholder and cross-sector working groups, and that government officials and youth leaders are actively engaged, building on their sustainable presence and influence in the county.
But I want to say that the sustainability bit of the entire program is what we actually looked at. That's why we developed the youth policy. I will not be here in the next 2 years. I might be in this office or not be in this office, right? But I know we'll have a document that is going to compel the government to set aside resources to go towards sports development, to go towards the youth well-being in matters of health, to go towards supporting the youth who are into political sphere or space, to go towards supporting young people who are doing SMEs or small businesses within the town. So that is one of the greatest things.
It is recognized that objects of devolution as provided for under the Article 174 of the Constitution of Kenya includes to give powers of self-governance to the people and enhance the participation of people in exercise of powers of the state and in making decisions affecting them, and to recognize the right of communities to manage their own affairs and to further their development.
I'm going to make sure that actually the public participations that we've been having are happening. I'm going to ensure that there is inclusivity in whatever kind of activity that is happening across the county. We have a youth representatives. You know, we have very, very strong bodies within the county, the Youth Forum, the Youth Bungesako. Actually, Kisii County has a huge population of vibrant youth within the county who are fully engaged on matters political and shaping the opinions of this county. So what we are going to do is to make sure that these young people are given that opportunity and they are not in any way intimidated in airing their views as their representative, as the youth, they call me Youth 001. I'm going to make sure that actually the youth's voice is heard.
Our partnership for the last 2 years with team has been very awesome, and the phasing out of this program to us is a big challenge. Actually, we just started having a wonderful partnership. Phase 1, I would say, for this partnership is realizing the youth policy. The youth policy is going to be a huge undertaking that government on its own cannot be able to do or to undertake. we still believe, and our urge to the donors who supported team is that we still have a crucial phase that we want to enter with this policy, and that's implementation. As you phase out, we are requesting that you may consider supporting team to support the county governments in the Lake region to implement some of the key programs in the policy.
Team's presence and impact was so felt that their partner government official wished that team would stay longer and help reach out to the remaining sub-counties to create a wider reach for a greater meaningful transformation.
For the future engagements, I would wish that team be given an opportunity to come back to Kisii, because as government we appreciate the private public partnership as government to ensure that we're able to achieve together sustainable development goals.
Like now, team has worked in Nyamira North sub-county. You know, if probably you could get enough funding, then probably you could expand to other sub-counties. Because as an individual, I cannot manage alone unless we team up.
The contributions of team in youth development in the county has been very effective, but it has only been in very few sub-counties. I think one sub-county only, out of 11 sub-counties. So if the same approach is also used, one, already their reference point, and the ones that were used in the first sub-county can now be used to mentor the others in the other sub-counties. So if resources will be available, we strongly welcome the collaboration, the cooperation, and the coordination which we have had in youth initiatives with team within the county.
Actually, you know, when you begin a certain project, and at the end of the day, you see some baby steps that have been taken, and 1 or 2, 3, 4 people's lives are changed. That is the greatest achievement, or that is the best feeling of any human being. So I would like to sincerely thank the donor for the little time that they've been in Kisii. We have seen drastic changes, positive changes. Youth engagement has moved to a higher notch. I could request that actually, if it's possible, that they can a little bit get to extend. I'll be happy to see what happens immediately when our youth policy is out. Okay, if the donor can support us in now the implementation bit of it, in drawing a plan on how we are going to outsource for resources and how we are going to put the resources in good use.
And I think that this is a project that can be can be emulated by other counties. Because it's something that has worked in Kisii and Nyamira, and it can work elsewhere.
Na kwa sasa matumaini yangu, naamini nitapata, hata nitajiendelesha na nitapata na nitafanya mengi hata karibuni. Sasa kwa mwaka huu vile naona nikiendelea mbele nitanunua hata probox zaidi. Na nashukuru hii team, sababu kama ingekuwa singejua.
Team's 2-year YEP project in Kisii and Nyamira counties has created significant change within the youth. This can only be described as a true example of Transform Empowerment for Action initiative.